This is my second video update coming to you from Athens, Greece on this Wednesday evening. Just wondering what's back here. Let's talk about some news. And we're going to get to a very good clown world, which I'm sure everyone knows what it's going to be. But before we get to that clown world, let's talk about some big news stories. The first big news story is Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, landing in Saudi Arabia for what's going to be a 3-day visit to Saudi Arabia and to meet with MBS. And what's on the agenda? Well, BRICS, SCO, cooperation, a tighter cooperation and partnership between China and Saudi Arabia, perhaps a discussion revolving around a new reserve currency or a new reserve basket of commodities, perhaps, currency/commodities, oil and energy, Saudi Arabia working with China to get oil and energy delivered to China. All these things are going to be discussed in Saudi Arabia. And unlike Biden's trip that he made to visit MBS about a month ago, I think, the Chinese leader was given a royal welcome. I mean, they really rolled out the red carpet for Xi Jinping. And as I said, this is in stark contrast to the way Biden was greeted when he arrived in Saudi Arabia. MBS does not like Joe Biden, and Joe Biden does not like MBS. But the U.S. did an interesting thing today as the Chinese leader touched down in Riyadh. They got the U.S. courts, the Biden White House, they got the U.S. courts to drop all charges against MBS as related to the Khashoggi trial, the Khashoggi murder. So all charges against MBS were coincidentally, magically dropped today in the United States, just as Xi Jinping was landing in Riyadh. Isn't that interesting? So I guess that's the U.S.'s way. That's the Biden White House's way of saying, look, MBS, please forgive us. We screwed up when we called you a despot, a dictator, a pariah, a murderer. And when we said we are going to bring you to justice for what you did to Khashoggi, we messed up. Please forgive us. Please don't take the reserve currency and run away with China. And just to show you our goodwill, here are the U.S. courts dropping charges against you. That is pretty much what took place, and it just shows how. What does it show? It shows how spineless Joe Biden is. That's what it shows. That is what it shows, because he was talking some nasty stuff against MBS when he was campaigning and when he got into the office of the president. And now look at him. Now that he realizes that he has put the U.S. dollar in jeopardy, and he sees Saudi Arabia drifting, not even drifting, moving quickly towards China and BRICS, well, it looks like the Biden White House has finally understood what a colossal mistake they have made with their rhetoric, and I guess you could say a kind of virtue signaling against Saudi Arabia and MBS. But I think that MBS is going to be laughing at this move from the Biden White House to drop all charges against him with regards to Khashoggi. But MBS is going to say, this is all fine and good, Joe Biden. I'm glad that you came to your senses and dropped the charges against me, because what's at stake is the U.S. dollar. But Joe Biden, I still did not take too favorably to the G7 and the EU move the other day to put a price cap on oil, on Russian oil. That I did not like. So in order for us to get back in each other's good graces, I would imagine that MBS is going to probably say, in order for us to make amends and get back on our path of friendship, you're going to have to roll back these oil price caps. that's what I can see Saudi Arabia doing, because OPEC Plus, Saudi Arabia, they did not take too kindly to the $60 oil price cap. Who's the G7 in the EU? Who do they think they are to try and dictate to us how we should price our oil? They are trying to move in on our turf, on our territory, and that is something that I imagine MBS is very pissed off about. So that is the big meeting that is going to be taking place over the next 3 days between Xi Jinping and MBS. The other big story that dropped today was a coup attempt in Germany. A coup attempt in Germany, and this is a wild one. This one really is a wild one. And I don't know how seriously to take this story, because, well, the German government, they're taking this very seriously, and for good reason. They definitely are looking for any type of distraction they can get, and why not some sort of distraction modeled after January 6th and what happened in the U.S. at the Capitol. It seems like the German government is modeling this interesting coup development after January 6th. Maybe they're hoping they can get a couple of months of really good distraction out of this story, but something doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right at all. And even some German MPs are saying that this is some sort of distraction. AfD Party's Eugene Schmidt said the arrest of alleged coup conspirators is a smokescreen amid the energy crisis. So what happened? What is going on here with this coup in Germany? Reich coup foiled in Germany, according to security services. SWAT deployments, more than 130 searches and a total of 25 arrests have been carried out in Germany and several neighboring countries in one of the largest counter-terrorist operations in the nation's history, according to German media. Those arrests include former members of the military and police force, as well as Russian nationals. They are suspected of conspiring to depose the current government in Berlin by force and reinstate a regime modeled on the German Reich of 1871. The group members are said to be adherents of the Q ideology, who believe Germany is currently being controlled by the deep state. Interesting. Very interesting. Having started their preparations for a coup back in November 2021, the suspects formed a military wing and were actively attempting to recruit military personnel currently serving in the Bundeswehr. Apart from storming the country's parliament, the Bundestag, and taking lawmakers hostage, the suspects also allegedly intended to target Germany's energy infrastructure in the hope of triggering civil war-like clashes. The conspirators also reportedly formed a shadow cabinet, planning to put a nobleman from Frankfurt, Prince Heinrich VIII, at the helm for an interim period following the coup. Q is what they're pinning this coup attempt on. I don't know. I had no idea that whole thing, that CIA op, because that's what Q was. It was some sort of FBI CIA operation to derail the Trump campaign. That's what I believe it was. But really, Q in Germany? I don't know. Maybe Q was a big thing in Germany. I have no clue. I have no idea. But 25 arrests. Putting in some Prince, what's his name? Heinrich VIII? Taking hostage lawmakers. That doesn't seem like a very legit coup, if you ask me. That's kind of a weak sauce coup. That's what it sounds like. I could be wrong. Maybe there's going to be more information that comes out. But usually a military coup is a lot more nasty, like a serious coup. Usually a serious coup is very, very nasty stuff, and usually have some military officials with a lot of power, and they go after not the lawmakers, they go after presidents, prime ministers, in this case, chancellor. And in order for a coup to succeed, you've got to either arrest the leaders of the country right away or delete them right away. And usually in a coup attempt as well, you're talking about cutting off communication, a general blackout in the country, stuff like that. That's a serious coup right there. This sounds kind of rinky-dink. It's like a rinky-dink coup. Doesn't sound too serious, but I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, and maybe as I get more information on this coup, maybe I'll find out. Maybe we'll all find out that this was a real serious big deal. But whatever the degree of seriousness this coup had, one thing is for sure: the German authorities and I imagine the European Union as well, they are going to absolutely leverage this coup attempt to place more censorship, more surveillance, and centralize more control. That's exactly what they're going to do, in much the same way that the Democrat Party did in the United States, in the Biden White House, and the Department of Justice and the FBI, just like they did with the Jan 6 Capitol insurrection that MSNBC always goes on and on about. Well, I think that the German government is going to look to do the same thing. That's why I think this whole thing seems to be modeled after Jan 6. It seems like that's their template. And maybe this AfD MP is right. Maybe this is just one attempt to distract, one big attempt to distract the German population from the terrible state of things in Germany. That's a possibility. Anyway, this story is kind of developing, and let's see how this thing goes. But no doubt about it, Habeck and Brabach and Schultz, they're going to use this to clamp down further on German citizens' rights. That's going to be a definite. And by the way, from what I understand, there was a Russian national involved in this group of 25 people in this coup attempt. So I'm sure you're going to be hearing Putin did it and Russia did it with regards to this coup as well. That one's coming as well. So you always have to have a Russian element to these things. And that's going to be all the reason that Germany needs to continue to send more money and more weapons to Ukraine. So that is the coup attempt in Germany. And finally, let's finish things off here before I get to my clown world with Putin's speech. He says some interesting things as he was speaking to, and I want to get this right, he was speaking to members of the country's Council for Civil Society and Human Rights. And he made some interesting statements during this meeting. He said that he squashed the idea. First of all, he squashed the idea that there's going to be another mobilization. Putin said that the Russian government doesn't see a need for another mobilization. He also revealed that of the 300,000 mobilized, only 150,000 are in the special operations zone, of which 77,000 are in combat units, and the rest of the 150,000 are on the second or third lines or are undergoing additional training. So that was an interesting comment from the Russian president. And he also said that, and I found this one to be really fascinating, he said that the only guarantor of the territories of Ukraine within its current borders could be the Russian Federation. Now, I found this line to be the most revealing, especially when you have talk about NATO forces in Ukraine, you have talk about Poland entering the conflict and perhaps annexing the western part of Ukraine. You have statements from Scholz and Macron about security guarantees in all of Europe and how Germany is going to be the guarantor of security in Europe. You now have Putin coming out and saying that the only guarantor of territories of Ukraine within its current borders could be the Russian Federation. Could be the Russian Federation. I think this hints at what may be coming with regards to the conflict in Ukraine, the plan for Ukraine. This may be hinting at the fact that Russia is indeed looking at some sort of post-Ukraine, which is either all of it a part of the Russian Federation, or perhaps a significant portion of it is a part of the Russian Federation, maybe all the way to Odessa, or a small rump state of Ukraine is going to be allowed to exist, but that rump state of Ukraine will have Russia as the guarantor. Anyway, that's what it might be hinting at. Putin also mentioned that the Russian military has made significant progress in this special military operation, and he noted the fact that even, I think he said, Peter the Great fought hard, fought to control the Sea of Azov. That's what he said. He mentioned Peter the Great and how Peter the Great fought to try and gain control of the Sea of Azov. And he noted that today the Russian Federation, through Mariupol and the gains that they've made, now control the Sea of Azov. He said it's become an inland lake of the Russian Federation. I thought that was also a very interesting comment, and it may hint at a plan to control the entire Black Sea. That's what it may be hinting at. Or as Liz Truss calls it, the Baltic Sea. As Liz Truss notes, it's the Baltic Sea. But I thought that was an interesting statement as well. Putin also mentioned that this war could be a long war. He did say something along those lines as well, which was also revealing. So that was the meeting that Putin had, and the statements that he made. I think we'll be getting. I don't think we've got all the entire transcript out yet. The translated English version transcript. I don't think it's on the Kremlin website yet. But when it comes out, I'm sure we'll get some more detailed information as to what Putin said in his statements. And let's get to our clown world and wrap this video up. And of course, today's clown world is Time's Person of the Year, Time Magazine's Person of the Year, who is none other than, drum roll please, Zelensky and the spirit of Ukraine, I think is what the Person of the Year is. Zelensky and the spirit of Ukraine. Give me 1 second here. Let me pull up the cover. Yes, Person of the Year, Volodymyr Zelensky and the spirit of Ukraine. There it is. Is anybody shocked? Is anybody surprised? No, not one bit. Not one bit. I actually talked about this in a video I did a couple of days ago where I mentioned that the Financial Times had named Zelensky Person of the Year. And I jokingly said, kind of serious, kind of jokingly, I said that Zelensky is going to most likely be Time Magazine's Person of the Year. And no surprise here. I think this was absolutely expected because, well, to be fair, Ukraine was and remains the big story I mean, it does mark the beginning of the end of the unipolar world order. So with Ukraine, we begin to see a much different world taking shape. So without a doubt, Ukraine was the big story of 2022. So that's spot on. And to be even more fair to Time Magazine, Person of the Year is not necessarily considered to be a good person or a bad person or anything like that. It's there's been many people in the past who have been Time Magazine's Person of the Year, and they've been the most evil of people. So Time Magazine, I think Time Magazine itself has also said that Person of the Year is just basically the most influential person, the person that's had the most impact on the world, or on the previous year in the world for that year. Ugh. I'm not speaking too well this evening. So the Person of the Year, of course, in this instance is going to be framed, given that it's Zelensky. It is going to be framed by Time Magazine in a heroic light. And you can make that out just from the full title of Person of the Year, which is Zelensky and the Spirit of Ukraine. That hints at the fact that Time Magazine is going to put together a kind of puff piece for Zelensky, and that's also to be expected because Time Magazine is maybe once upon a time it was a much more powerful Western mainstream media publication. Now it's a shell of what it used to be, but it still is considered Western mainstream media, and they're going to absolutely toe the line and stay on script with Project Ukraine. So I don't think any of this is any big surprise to anybody. But the interesting part about this is that as Time Magazine is gushing about Zelensky, and as I'm sure all the politicians in the collective West are going to use this magazine cover, this designation of Person of the Year, to make very grandiose speeches about how the collective West, even though economies are crumbling, how the collective West needs to stay united and to continue to funnel money and weapons into Ukraine. I'm sure you're going to get statements like that. As all of this is going to be taking shape over the next couple of days, at this very moment, hero Zelensky has got the intel agencies of Ukraine, the SBU, raiding Orthodox churches. And today they raided another 13 Orthodox churches in Ukraine because they believe that those Orthodox churches are what else but Putin puppets. And they're trying to weaken the power of the Zelensky regime. So, some Person of the Year, isn't it? A man who puts out the order to his intel agencies, or pretends. Wow. That is loud. Woo. All right, a man who puts out the order to his intel agencies to raid churches. And today they raided 13 churches. And you know that as they raid these churches, they're going to try and confiscate whatever assets they can get their hands on. And they're going to make arrests of priests and all kinds of church officials. Make no doubt about it. Anyway, that's the Person of the Year, everybody. It is Zelensky. That's the clown world. I apologize for the sirens. This is Athens, Greece, in the evening, and I'm going to sign off. The Duran.locals.com and the Duran shop, 10% off. Use the code GOODDAY. Take care.